Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to my channel, Cooking with Chef Dan. We're going to talk about herbs and spices, and we're going to talk about prepping chicken for for certain dishes. Um, what a lot of restaurants will do when prepping chicken, uh, it's pretty basic, is they'll pound it. It makes the chicken bigger, so you'll have a chicken breast, and you can cut it, fillet it, open it up, and pound it. That'll flatten it out really nice. You can take a cellophane plastic wrap, put it over top of the chicken, pound it. You got to clean the chicken first, right? Because you don't want any of that stuff on it. So you run it underneath water. A lot of chicken comes frozen, so in a box, right? So I mean, you're putting it in water for a while with the tap on in the sink in the kitchen in the restaurant, and you're letting the tap run, right? You got to keep that tap on because it's got to continuously run down the drain, but that will eventually thaw out, and then you're going to take the pieces and you're going to pound them, all depending on how big they are. I mean, you might want to cut them in half, you might not, but put them down, put the cellophane over them, or put them in a plastic bag. You know, one of those plastic bags for storing food in. All right, put them in there. You pound them with the pounder, makes them nice and flat, and then you can store them, put them away. A lot of times for when you're making prepping for chicken parm, you're going to pound them and then dip them in flour. You know. Because it will eventually go into the deep fryer, you know, and it'll cook there for a bit, and then you're gonna put your cheeses on top, the sauce, the cheese, and a couple of cheeses on top, anyways. And that's kind of the routine for that. Some chickens are prepped with egg and breadcrumbs. So flour, egg, breadcrumbs. All right, in that specific order, and that makes for other certain dishes. Um, Now that's pretty basic knowledge when it comes to that. So that's what you're going to do. You want a bigger piece of chicken, you're going to pound it. Okay, you put it in a bag, or you put it under cellophane, plastic wrap, and give it a pound with your little pounder. Now remember, these tools, they might be expensive in different places, but when you go to the thrift shop, Salvation Army thrift store or something like that that you see in your area, go to the kitchen department, and I promise you, you're going to find a lot of cool tools there. Um, Sooner or later, you will find a pounder, and it'll cost you $3. If you got a lot of money, then go ahead and buy one brand new at the kitchen appliance section of your local mall, and you're going to find something there. Again, you can go to Chef Paradise or something like that, which we have in Ottawa on Bank Street. It's very nice. And or you can find them in places. I think there's a baking place across the street from Knifeware on Bank Street in Ottawa, which has a lot of really cool things in it too. I mean, when you buy them brand new, you're going to spend, $20-$30, but these things that last a long time, very worth it. And if you can't find them in the thrift store, well, at least you know that they're there, right? So like the tartare maker, the steak tartare maker. All right, well, maybe not steak tartare, but the hamburger one, you put the quail egg, you put a little dimple in your tartare, and then you put the quail egg on top. But there's that circle, that ring, the pastry cutter, right? And it comes in a 5-piece set. You can buy them there, right? They use the same situation for the tartare. And I mean, a steak tartare, it's made a little bit differently. You don't really use the ring, right? And again, different restaurants, different ways of doing things. Um, so I want to talk about herbs a little bit. I'm reading from a book from my college. Okay, so this is real information. It's not something that's too old either. It's not like 25 years old coming from Mother Hubbard's cupboard. I don't know if there's such thing. I just kind of made that up. But um, so this is the real thing. This real knowledge about herbs and spices. In a previous video I showed you, I have a my own spice rack, all right, that I picked up. And I also noticed at the grocery store the other day, they changed the bottles of the spices. Um, so they should fit your regular spice rack. I have several. I have a spice rack in my corner here made of metal, and it could fit 100 of them. But I took it down to fit this one up because it's kind of prettier looking, and really I only need 16 spices in my setup, and there are so many spices out there. I mean, there are spices from all around the world that you can literally put 60 spices in a spice rack. But the trick is knowing what each one is for. Okay, and that's important. All right, it's important. And if you haven't gone to school and you don't have the textbook, or they don't have them at the library, I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, what spices are for what. Quickly, I'll do 15 or 20 of them. At least what's in this chapter here. And it's coming from a textbook, a very recent textbook. And that's what's important right now. Okay, I mean, there are Indian foods that have other spices that I would love to get my hands on and add to my spice rack. There are spices with medicinal abilities that help you. I mean, every spice has a medicinal ability, and it's a wonderful thing about spices. So, like turmeric, for instance, turmeric has a dozen things that make it good for you, and that's one of the reasons I have it as my top 15 spices. Herbs are the leafy part of certain plants that grow in temperature climates. Herbs are generally available fresh and dried. Primary purpose of herbs and spices is to build a depth of flavor in your dish, not to rescue, remedy, or mask the existing combination of ingredients. They should be cooked in the dish during preparation so their essence blends in smoothly, giving character and intensity. Now, this is a quote in a book under Chapter 8, Building Flavor and Balanced Baking under Nutrition for Food Service and Culinary Professionals. This is 9th edition, made by Wiley. Wiley is a wonderful organization group that makes these for students. I fell in love with this one book of nutrition, and as well as my Gislin, I fell in love with too. It was a beautiful cookbook. If you ever do get into the college, they will give you also a website that you can go to that gives you a direct approach to ways to make different foods, recipes. Okay. So I have told you where it was from with the quote, so I'm not plagiarizing or anything. Okay, so the basil's a beautiful thing. Okay, one thing you can do with basil is you can take the leaves off. You can use the stalk, the stem for one part of something, and then you can use the leaves for another part of something. You can chop the leaves. Fresh basil is a beautiful thing. Okay, Bright green tender leaves of a herb in the mint family. Sweet, slightly peppery flavor. Tomatoes. Best juices is in tomatoes, eggplant, squash, soups, poultry, red sauces, pesto. Put it in pesto. Complex and green salads. Pesto's like it's got a nutty inside it too. Pesto's a nice thing. All right, you can do all sorts of things with pesto, and that is something I can actually go over sometime soon. Is how to make pesto. Basil is good for cold sauces such as cream based relishes and salsas. Finishing sauces, beans, and vegetable sautés. Basil is very nice. Bay leaves. Bay leaves. People know about bay leaves, right? You put it in tomato sauce for your spaghettis and stuff like that. You put bay leaves, enhancing the taste. Long, dark green, brittle leaves with the bay laurel tree, a small tree from Asia. Pungent, warm flavor when leaves are broken. Always remove bay leaf before serving due to toughness. Not really an edible thing, so you got to take them out. All right. You let them sit in your tomato sauce as it's boiling, but when the tomato sauce is ready, go fishing. Take them out. Longer cooked items such as stocks, sauces, soups, braised dishes, and stews. Great for marinades, flavored liquids such as brines, courts and poaching broths. All right. So in stock, you're in your sachet garnet. Okay, so in the other video, so you're making your stock, and you're going to put parsley stems. You're going to put peppercorns. You're going to put a bay leaf. You're going to put thyme, and some people use a clove of garlic. All right, and they wrap it in the cheesecloth with some butcher's twine. Right, and as the stock is being made, it adds unami, savory, unami. Unami is taste. It's defined as savory. Okay, so you throw that in, and it makes better taste for your stock. You end up taking it out, after a while, because you're gonna put your stock through the china cap and through the cheesecloth and get all the hard stuff out, transfer it into another pot, and all of the juice. All right, the hot juice is going to be your stock, and then you're going to put it in. You're going to let it cool off after that. You can put it in a bucket. You can put it in whatever. You can put it in water to let it cool, right? But you can put it in a sink in water to cool, and then once it's at a certain temperature, then you can put it into the fridge. I wouldn't cover it right away. All right, you got to let it cool off enough. All right, because the change in temperatures. So going on to chevril, fern-like leaf of a plant in the parsley family, like parsley, with a slight peppery taste. Smells like anise. It's called chevril. All right, and it's like parsley, but it's not parsley, so it almost looks like it. If you go into the section of your grocery store and go and look at the different, so it would be in the fresh vegetables section. So you see all the fresh herbs. All right, and they individually pack fresh herbs today. They're about $4 each. So you might buy 2 or 3 for a special dinner, and use them for just such reasons. Okay. And so you get a good look at it. What I did before I started school was I took a picture. All right. And whenever I wasn't sure, I brought the picture up in my phone, and I brought the screen closer and closer and closer. With your fingers, you're bringing the picture closer so you can see it close up. So then you'll be able to see what it looks like, and you'll remember. So it's used for stocks, soups, sauces, salads, egg and cheese dishes, French-inspired cooking, chevril. Then you got chives. Remember what chives are? You go out to your backyard and you got chives growing all over the place, and they taste kind of oniony, like they're onions, but they're not onions. They're just like these long, thin things. Chives grow everywhere, in Ontario anyway. And I used to pick them in the backyards in many places, and they were so good. It tasted really good. But chives are actually used in cooking like crazy. The grass-like leaves of a plant in the onion family, mild onion flavor. Um, there are other thicker varieties, such as garlic chives, may fight inflammation. Chives might fight inflammation. How about that? In the body. The human body, you have inflammation of the gastrointestinal area, and you're a non-smoker. So what are you going to do? Nicotine fights against inflammation of the gastrointestinal tract also. A chef, what it is the study of gastronomy. All right, what people eat, and it's not just cooking wonderful foods. I mean, you're almost a doctor to it. I mean, you research and research and research and research, and every day you're researching. Sooner or later, you run into things like, okay, nicotine does the same thing as chives. you know. So, I mean, if you're not a smoker and you have inflammation of the bowels, well, maybe you should have chives instead of nicotine. Yeah. I'll never ever smoke. Smoking's not good for you. But I mean, I will never smoke. All right. People smoke out there, and I'm not saying anything about it. It's your thing. There's a lot of chefs that smoke. And when I was younger, I smoked. I don't smoke anymore. That's all. Just one of those things. Anyways, moving on. Chives are used for poultry, seafood, potatoes, salads, soups. It says complex salads. I mean, it doesn't have to be complex, but I mean, it's an extra addition. Chives are really nice decoration as well for some things. Soups, cold sausage, cream-based soups, and sauces, relishes, and salsas, egg and cheese dishes, garnishes for finishing vegetables, legumes, beans, and grains. Chives are one of the finest herbs of French cuisine, along with tarragon, chevril, and parsley. Yeah. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. My chef at school used to sing that all the time. He was a good chef. He ran one of the restaurants just on the outside of town, and it was a steakhouse. And he did it for a long, long time. And next thing you know, he's teaching me. I think that's pretty cool. I went to his restaurant when I was really young. My dad brought me there, and it was an experience I'll never forget, because I think we only went once or twice, but it was wonderful. Cilantro, a herb with wide, delicate, lacy green leaves and a unique and distinct flavor that you love or you hate. The dried seeds of the plant are also called coriander, citrus tones with a perfume flavor profile. I use a lot of cilantro in the restaurants. The restaurants where I had worked in the past, cilantro was a big thing in the garde manger section. So that's the salad section. So the cold food sections, I guess cold meats, cold salads, and cold things, served to people. So it's garde manger. And cilantro was one of the big ones. We use basil here and there. I remember putting basil in a few things. Yeah. Dillweed. Delicate green leaves of dill plant, dill pickle flavor. It's very fluffy looking leaves. If you can imagine, fluffy looking leaves. You'll see it when you go to the grocery store and you look for dill. You're going to see what I mean by fluffy. They're fluffy leaves, okay? So, delicate green leaves of dill plant, dill pickle flavor. Complex salads is what they're used for. Dressings, sauces, soups, breads, vegetables. Dillweed is often used with fish. Dips, it's been known for pickling, such as dill pickle and pickled carrots. Oh, let's see. I'm going to skip a few here. Majoram. Leaves from a plant in the mint family. Mild flavor similar to oregano with a hint of mint. Majoram. I haven't used it much, but is something that you would use if you're working on a griddle or on the grill. If you're working with frying pans, sautéing, the sauté cook. It's used with lamb, poultry, lamb or poultry, stuffing, sauces, vegetables, soups, stews, ragouts, beans, grains, Mediterranean style dishes. Next one down is mint. Okay. A family of plants that include many species and flavors, such as spearmint, peppermint, and chocolate mint. Cool, refreshing, sweet flavor. Mint was another one that we used in salads in the cold food section of the restaurant, of the kitchen, the cuisine. It's used with lamb, fruits, some vegetables, complex and green salads, beverages, cold sauces such as cream-based relishes, salsas, and mojos. Great with lentils and tabbouleh. Moving on, oregano. Everybody knows oregano, right? Dark green leaves of oregano plant, pungent, pepper-like flavor. Two varieties, Mexican, citrus, and sweet. Mediterranean, more peppery profile. Italian, Mediterranean, and Mexican dishes for oregano. I don't know. I put it in French dishes too, but specifically Italian, Mediterranean, Mexican dishes, especially meats, sauces, dressings, vegetable sautés, complex salads, rubes, and marinades. So we would use oregano for meats and sauces, and dressings, vegetable sautés, sautéing some vegetables. I mean, of course, you would blanch your vegetables. So I mean, you're blanching your broccoli and your carrots, right, in water. So you're boiling them till they're almost ready, but they're not ready yet. All right, so they're within like 5 minutes of being ready, and then you're putting them in a cold ice bath. All right, so it's called shucking. You're shocking the vegetables. All right, so it stops their cooking process. You're shocking them. That's it, shocking them. And then they go into a container for ready for service. So somebody will need something. We'll have a steak, and we're going to need 3 pieces of broccoli and 3 pieces of carrots. They'll go in the saute pan with a little bit of garlic butter, and we'll saute them for a few minutes. Throw a little bit of oregano on top, some salt and pepper, and that is your side for whatever meat that you're going to have. And excellent, excellent. Okay, parsley. Talking about parsley a few minutes ago. Green leaves and stalks of several varieties of parsley plant. Mild, slightly peppery flavor may fight inflammation also. So parsley, green leaves and stalks. All right, so you're taking the leaves off the parsley and you're just using the stalk. All right, so you get a lot from the stalk of parsley, and it goes in the bouquet garni. All right, or the sachet. Remember, the bouquet garni is the big sachet, and the sachet is just a small one. It's just a little sachet. C'est quoi ça en anglais? A little bag, right? Of cheesecloth with a couple peppercorns in it, like 3 or 4 peppercorns in it, your bay leaf, your thyme, a little piece of garlic, and your parsley stem. All right, and that's your sachet. Bouquet garni, you're gonna have a handful of the stuff. You're gonna have like 15 or 20 peppercorns. You're gonna have 8 or 10 stems of parsley. You know, 2 or 3 bay leaves, 4 bay leaves, maybe. It's a bouquet, like it's a big thing, right? Of course, you're going to be making a big stock if that's the case. If you're going to use a bouquet garni, typically a small pot like I have in here is a sachet. All right, so bouquet garni, fine herbs, almost any food item for flavor and garnish. So you can use parsley for almost any food item for flavor and garnish. Some people used to garnish the plate with the darn stuff. I mean, it got a little out of hand in the 90s. So Michelin star restaurants stopped doing it. All right, it was just it was a little too much parsley on the plate, and more. They started looking towards more beauty to the food itself, and that was the year 2000 and up. Right, so we advanced ourselves beyond that. Great as an addition to brighten up composed salads. A lot of this information also that's coming out of me are words from my professors when I was going to school too. So it's good to know. Rosemary would be the next one. All right, soft green leaves that look like pine needles. Okay, flavor like pine and a faintly lemony aroma. May fight inflammation and cancer. All right, rosemary is an awesome thing, man. Turmeric, rosemary, all these things that might fight cancer, might fight inflammation, parsley. There's a lot of good stuff here. All right. That's why our wives live longer than us. Right? Well, in most cases. In some cases, it's different, but most of the time. So rosemary, roasted and grilled meats. Okay, so it says such as lamb, pork, or chicken. I think that they just left out red meat, beef, but I use it for steak, right? Rosemary and thyme, salt and pepper, Montebeurre. So you got your brown butter and you're basting it, and you're basting it in the pan, and you're cooking your steak to 100 and 130, 135, 140, 145, medium. So, and remember, when you cook a steak, you got to let it sit for a few minutes. All right. And you got to let it sit on like a grill with a bottom dish to it. All right. So the drippings drip into the bottom. All right. Like a tiny little cookie sheet. But it sits up on a grill, right? And it's a little rectangle. Anyways, it sits there. And and you're supposed to let it sit. Steak. Okay, so roasted and grilled meats such as lamb, pork, or chicken, sauces, potato dishes, mushrooms, soups, and stuffing. The next one up is sage. Sage looks like a weed. It's the best description for it. The one with the pods, that the butterflies like so much. But it's not that. Okay, it's a sage. Most commonly is gray-green velvety leaves and blue flowers. A member of the mint family with several different varieties such as pineapple, purple, tricolor, and golden. Strong, musty perfume, flavor, and aroma might fight cancer as well. Most commonly associated with stuffing for pork and poultry dishes. Uses in European and Mediterranean cuisine, especially in Italian dishes such as pizzas, sausages, focaccia, saltimbocca, gnocchi, and pastas. Gnocchi. Gnocchi. Gnocchi is like the little pasta things, and they're folded up. I guess there's something in there, meat or something. Anyways, you are cooking. If I remember, it's that green cheese, the old green cheese, and I know there's a name for it. There's a name for every cheese, but it's green cheese, and I think it's Alfredo. And the cheese melts in the Alfredo in the pan, and the gnocchi is pre-prepared, but you're going to put it in the hot water for a minute or so, and then take it out, and then mix it with the blue cheese and the Alfredo that's now melted together, and mix it up. That's a gnocchi, and that's an Italian dish. It's very, very delicious. So yeah, and pastas, sage, good, savory, kind of like unami. Unami means savory, anyways. Unami is like a taste that was discovered. All right, by I think he was a Japanese man or a Chinese man. I'm not sure. It's one or the other. And he discovered it. He realized that there's another taste out there in the world, and he couldn't put his thumb on it. And then he studied it for years and years and years, and then he finally came up with this unami. And unami is defined as savory, so which is a taste, right? It's savory, and so not to be confused with the herb savory. Small, narrow leaves of plant in mint family. Summer savory is preferred to winter savory as is highly aromatic with a wonderful distinct piquancy. Wonder if it kind of looks like thyme a little bit, maybe a little bit. Used to enhance the flavors in food, including meat, poultry, sausage, fish, vegetables, and beans, used in Italian and other European cuisines. Ooh. Tarragon. I have tarragon. Small plant with long, narrow leaves and gray flower, delicate sweet flavor with hint of licorice. Mm-hmm. Used for a béarnaise sauce, one of the mother sauces. If you know your mother sauces, your béarnaise, Espagnole, Hollandaise, tomato, velouté. Is that all of them? Hollandaise, velouté, Espagnole, béarnaise, and tomato. Béarnaise, Hollandaise, Espagnole, tomato, velouté. Béarnaise, Hollandaise, Espagnole, tomato, velouté. Yeah, there's five mother sauces. And actually, you know what? I had this argument with another chef once a long time ago. I said, you know what? There's another mother sauce out there. Oh yeah, what is it? He says to me. I know there is. I had to think about it a little bit. You know what? What do you get when you mix butter and water together? Yeah, eh? When you mix butter and water together, what do you get? And why they're called mother sauces? Anyways, we'll get to that later. So béarnaise sauce, vinegars, dressings, poultries, fish, and salads. Tarragon. Thyme. Tiny leaves and purple flowers of a short, bushy plant. Spicy, slightly pungent flavor may fight inflammation and cancer. Thyme is used in our bouquet garni. It is always nice to have in your spice rack. Bouquet garni, meat, poultry, fish, soup, sauces, and tomato stuff. Stuff with tomato sauce, tomato soup. I make an excellent carrot soup, by the way, and I will get to that one of these days. Got some curry in it. Oh, it's just so good. Anyways, moving on. Okay, so that's a bunch of herbs. Okay, so I mean, it tells you a little bit about the herbs that are out there. I can't go over all of them, but these are some herbs that and where they're used, and that's good for you to know. So I'm going to talk a little bit about spices, and then we're going to call it a night. So that's about it, because I got to get to my dinner. I'm making um, Italian extra hot sausage. That big old 50% off sign. I couldn't help myself. And I would make those myself. I have the grinder for it. It's in a box right now, but you got to get the little the tube stuff, that the condom that it goes into, the meat goes into. So as you're grinding, it pushes in and creates that sausage, right? So I just got to buy those, and then once I buy them, then I can buy the 3 different meats or 4 different meats to combine, and then different fresh herbs. And I bet you that a fresh sausage is better than anything store bought. But I couldn't help, I love spicy stuff, and this was like what, $3, for a whole pack. 4 giant sausages, why not? Now there are different spices here. So we got allspice, anise, seed, caraway seed, cardamom, cayenne, celery seed, chili powder, cinnamon, cloves, and coriander. What else we got here? Cumin seed, dill seed, fennel seed, fenugreek seed, ginger, juniper berries, mace, mustard seed, nutmeg. Nutmeg can make you go nuts, so don't use too much nutmeg. It's a hallucinogen, I think, and people can get sick off the stuff. So don't try to get high off of it by eating a whole bunch. You can find yourself in the hospital if you do. Paprika, peppercorns, pink peppercorns, poppy seeds, saffron. Saffron takes an awful long time to boil. Vanilla bean, sesame seed, star anise, turmeric. I used to call it turmeric, and my professor walks up to me and he says, "You say turmeric one more time, you're going to stand outside the front door. Turmeric, turmeric, turmeric. Say it with me. Turmeric, turmeric." It actually took a day or two before I started saying turmeric. But so in my setup over here, I have some special things. So let's bring this over for a second and have a look. Okay. So right over here. Okay. You can see that. This is my spice rack. Basic things, but it's what I use. Typically, oregano, parsley, paprika, garlic seasoning, turmeric, cayenne, and ginger. Now, I have dried rosemary in case I'm making steak, thyme. And then these 3 I don't use too often: red peppers, chili peppers, and dillweed. But they're here because I didn't get to other spices at the grocery store. These are the ones that I normally use. Like if I'm making chicken, I will use these. And of course, you got your salt and pepper, right? Your salt and pepper on your stove, all right? A lot of times, I'll tell you something. One of these is for peppercorns, all right? A lot of times, I'll throw all this, the whole row of them, into one of these. Shake it all about, all right? And then twist the top, all right, just like I was grinding peppercorns on something, and it would evenly spread the spices on my chicken. As a little life hack, maybe. I don't know. So, those are the spices that I use. Somebody just emailed me or texted me. I hope it's not that important because I'm going to be a few more minutes with you guys, and then we're going to call it a night. I hope you're learning out of this. And remember, I mean, you can fast forward, rewind. You can write it down in your own recipe book. Um, and you know what's a cancer fighter? You know, this stops inflammation. Let's buy it. Let's buy it. Let's buy it. You know, people stay alive longer because of these spices, and they're a wonderful thing to have. Allspice, dark, dried brown berries of an evergreen tree indigenous to the West Indies and Central and South America. Smells of cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Best uses: a staple ingredient in jerk seasoning, Jamaican soups, stews, and curries. Also used in marinades, pickling, spiced tea mixtures, baked goods, and poaching liquid for fruits. Right. Oh, let's go down a little bit. Cayenne. That's one of the ones I have in my spice rack. Finely ground powder for several hot types of dried red chili peppers. Very hot. Used in small amounts. Increases blood circulation. Makes you feel full. So, I mean, I like hot stuff. Cayenne is good. Addition to rubs for meats and poultries. Use sparingly in seafood, sauces, eggs, and cheese dishes. Let's see here. Cinnamon is often used in baking. Baking is something every chef has to learn. Okay, you got to learn some baking. All right, and because there is baked goods in restaurants. All right, take pastas. All right, you got to make the dough for pasta. All right, and then you put the dough through the pasta maker. Right, and then you boil the pasta for a couple of minutes tops, and then the pasta is ready. You know, I mean, it's a form of baking. You know, you're making dough for this, dough for that, dough for pitas, dough for breads, French breads, bruschetta, uh, all sorts of things. You know, so I mean, you got to know your doughs. You want to put dough around. What's that really wonderful dish? Well, I'll get to it later. I'm wondering who texted me there a minute ago. So we got dill seed, small brown seed of dill plant, bitter flavor, much stronger than dillweed, with a celery anise aroma. Used for pickling and in relishes, soup, braised dishes, and breads. The Wellington. That's what I was thinking about. Um, you put dough around the Wellington. It's pastry. It's wait till it comes around to the other end of my head. So used for pickling and in relishes, soup, braised dishes, and breads. Seasoning for fish and chicken. Pastry. It's a kind of pastry. Anyways, ginger. Ginger is a favorite of mine. Gotta have ginger. It also helps with inflammation, reducing it, and it helps with nausea. Ginger is is a lot of things. All right, and you can buy it in the powder form, or you can buy it in a chunk of ginger and stick it in your fridge. I'll show you one. Um, there's always ginger in my fridge. It looks like that. Looks like a little animal, doesn't it? they don't they don't always look like that. They kind of look like antlers, really. When you see them at the store. This is a nice one because it's like a big ball of it, right? So when you go to chop a piece off like that, all right, it's you can just shave the skin off and chop it up really nice and dice it, mince it, throw it in your frying pan with your brown butter and your rosemary and thyme with your onions. It's just amazing. Mushrooms, add your garlic in there. Oh, it's mouth-watering. Pastry, your Wellington, beef Wellington. Well, it's you cover it up like this. It's specially made stuff. Anyways, never mind. So ginger is a wonderful thing. Tan root of the tropical ginger plant, indigenous to China, spicy fragrant freshness with a sweet flavor profile. May help with nausea, may reduce inflammation. Asian, Indian, Caribbean dishes such as curries, seafood, meats, and vegetable dishes. Baked goods such as gingerbread, also fruit, compotes, and beverages. Let's see here. Paprika is another one I have in here. Fine powder from mild varieties of red peppers. Two varieties, Spanish and Hungarian. Hungarian is dark in color and much stronger in flavor. Spanish used mostly as garnish, added to sauces, vegetables, soups, and stews. Hungarians used in braised meat sauces, gravies, some vegetables. Smoked paprika can be used to add a smoky flavor to a variety of dishes. These are spices. Pink peppercorns. Pink peppercorns are dried or pickled red berries of an evergreen, not related to black pepper. Bitter flavor, not as spicy as black pepper. Used in small quantities in meat, poultry, and fish dishes, and in whole pepper mixtures. Vanilla bean. Vanilla beans used a lot in baking. The fruit of the orchid plant found in tropical climates such as Mexico, Madagascar, and Tahiti. Has a dark, rich, sweet flavor profile. Baked goods, seeds from pods and creams and custards, poached liquids, chutneys, salsas, beverages, sauces, and ice creams. I mean, think about that. That sounds nice. Yeah, all these wonderful things. Turmeric, orange yellow root of a member of ginger family, musky peppery flavor, colored color foods bright yellow, may have anti-cancer activities, may decrease inflammation. I will boil some milk on the stove and add turmeric powder to it and whisk it up, and it's going to be like a yellow milk and yellow warm milk at bedtime. And I mean, if you probably did that every night for the rest of your life, you'll get tired of doing it, but you'll probably never ever get cancer. Inflammation would stay down. Turmeric is a wonder for not just 2 or 3 things, but for a list of things, 15 different things. I mean, it's a remedy for 15 different ailments. Turmeric is a beautiful thing. It's a key ingredient in Indian, Middle Eastern, and South Asian cooking, used in a variety of hot and cold recipes. So, I mean, This is a beautiful book. I love it so much. I mean, it just never stops. One thing after another. Marinades, searing, sweating, pureeing. Oh, pureeing. Oh, use the immersion blender. Okay, pureeing. If you like making soup, you're on the right channel, because I am going to make some soup. I'm going to make pea soup. I'm going to make carrot soup. I'm going to make all kinds of soups. Celery soup. I'm going to show you how to do it. And celery soup could be hot or cold. Cucumber soup, cucumber. I wonder what that's like, but it can be done. Some soups are cold soups. Some soups are hot soups. I prefer hot soups, but you never know when you might want a cold soup. As long as it's made well, a soup can be a wonderful thing, and it's filling. It's good for you. A lot of great things about soup. I mean, if you just imagine a pea soup, all right, and you take a little bit of onions, and you take some peas, and you take some vegetable broth, and and you put that all together. You know, um, you use your immersion blender. I'll show you something that's a beautiful thing, and you can buy it at Jean Couture. All right, Jean Couture sells a lot of kitchen things as well, and they're very inexpensive, like hand blenders and stuff like that. But this is a hand blender, and I'll show you. Hold on. All right, this is a hand blender. All right, and I make soups out of this. I make all sorts of stuff out of this. I mean, you just dip it in like this there, and you have a great time with it, and you blend the crap out of that thing, and it's very watery, makes a beautiful soup. And with carrots, something that's hard, you really got to boil it. But I mean, you could use canned carrots, I suppose. My favorite canned carrots, again, you buy them at Jean Couture because they don't have them anywhere else, is a little baby carrots in a can. They're hard to find. Jean Couture has them. I'm not promoting anywhere. I'm just telling you. I mean, you can go to Jean Couture to buy these things, I mean, because there's so many places where you can't get these things, right? So that's where to get them. And if you want to make soups, you make a big soup, and it can last a long time. It can last 4 days. Which is really good. I mean, we're not talking about a big chicken noodle soup, but we can talk about that later. Chicken noodle soup is not something that you would use the immersion blender on, or a Robo Coupe, or a Ninja, or something like that, But put that there for now, because I'm going to let you go. I hope you enjoyed the little read along, and I hope you are writing this stuff down, because everybody needs their own little recipe book, right? I've been having trouble with Meta and making videos there. So I'll try a few more times, but if I can't stop buffing or losing the video before the end of it, I'm just going to stick to YouTube. And with any luck, YouTube will be enough. I'm hoping for more subscribers, and I'm also hoping to be able to find this when I go and search YouTube through my machine in my living room. I went looking for myself today, and I couldn't find it, but I'm sure something will eventually make me available for everybody. If I put my name straight in there. Now, somebody left me a message, and they said that the title is the same all the time, that maybe I should change the title a little. So, I mean, that's kind of what I did this time. I put spices ahead of Cooking with Chef Dan, so maybe that'll change it a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm still new to this whole channel thing. I'm not sure if I'm making it properly, but uh, I'll ask a few questions to a few people who might know. And other than that, I'm just going to keep making them this way for now. I hope the best in your adventures, and I hope what I say helps you become a better cook and a better chef. If you're a chef, you probably already know. But the little things, I mean, like the steak tartare, I mean, how do you serve it like that? I mean, it's cooked without any heat or flame. The well, it's cooked without any flame. I forget the definition, how they said it, without any heat or flame or something like that. But I mean, it's cooked with the heat. No, it's cooked without heat or flame. It's cooked with acids of other ingredients, a Worcestershire sauce. But the story goes that in the old days, it was cooked with the heat of the behind of a horse. It was in the saddlebags, and it would be cooking with the heat of the horse. I don't know. I mean, the weird stuff that you never really think about. And even as a chef, you may not know that. So, I mean, I'm telling you this, and that'll just force you to go into Google and see what the heck I'm talking about, right? I think you're all wonderful people. Thank you for watching me and listening. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the um, in the messages part. Let me know if you want me to make something. Um, I'm going to work on getting a better camera eventually, which will probably stand up. So I won't be working out of my laptop. I will one day get a better laptop too. The picture is coming in pretty good, so I'm okay for now. Um, have a very wonderful evening. Uh, have a good night. Okay. See you later. Tomorrow. All right. We're going to do another one tomorrow. I don't know what. I was thinking the flank steak. I was thinking the chicken carbona, whatever. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Every day is different. So one day at a time. Keep coming back, everybody. Bye bye.